Yo, man. Welcome to No True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Hey, y'all. Thursday Night Football is in the books. Week 2 has kicked off, and we are all in going. With that being said, man, Week 2 is going to be another decent week. It's going to be a decent week this week. It ain't going to be as good as last week, but it's going to be a decent week this week, man. Some of the matchups ain't as spectacular as I wish that they can be, but there still are things that we need to pull through. Go through with these matchups, things that we can see from different teams and things like that to tell us what's going to happen going forward. Also, in this episode, we're going to go over all of that. We're also going to go over our important games of the week. We're also going to go over our game of the week. We got 2 Monday Night Football games, not 1, but 2 on Monday night. I'm also going to give y'all my fantasy sleepers for the week. That's a new thing that we're adding in this year. My fantasy sleepers are going to be guys that I think are not roster or on people's benches at one at each position. That's how we're going to do it. So 1 quarterback, 1 RB, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 kicker, 1 defense. And then to top that off, I'm still going to go ahead and give y'all my bets of the week. But guess what? I'm giving y'all not 1 set, but 2 sets of bets. I'm going to give y'all 1 bet with games, and then the second bet is going to be player props. And that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to kick off our Sundays from here on out. So, hey, y'all, let's go over the Thursday Night Football game real quick. We had the Washington Commanders, excuse my French, Washington Commanders were 18 going against the Green Bay Packers, who end up scoring 27. So, obviously, the Packers ended up winning this game by 9. The final score being 27-18, as I already said. We saw Jaden Daniels go for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. But, man, it took him 42 attempts and only completing 24 of his passes. Almost 50% of his passes were completed in this game. The Green Bay Packers defense is elite, you guys. They are elite. And the sad thing is they were already elite before adding Micah Parsons. Once you add in Micah Parsons, this is the type of game that you saw what his effect is. In this game, you saw him just kept rushing. And what that does, it causes a guy like Jaden Daniels to speed up his clock. And Jaden Daniels is a deep ball thrower. He's great actually going deep. But he's still learning the middle of the field, the close range, that kind of stuff. But he's still a young guy. He wants to go deep. He wants to score fast. He wants to score quick. That's how he wants to play. He wants to be aggressive. And Dan Quinn promotes that. So with that being said, in that offense, he needs great protection, and he needs to be able to evade pass rush. So to give guys like Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, so on and so forth, time to get down the field so that he can attack them deep. That's where Deebo Samuel comes into play. Deebo Samuel is their guy that could possibly take a slant route and take it to the house. He's the guy that provides that explosiveness in the short yardage passing game. But when you're going against a guy like Micah Parsons, you don't have time to wait on any of that. He's coming. And then you got guys like Luke Van Ness. Now look at him. Now he's looking more like a George Colossus like a player. A guy that's going to make a real impact. Sam Hubbard, those kind of DNs. He's not going to be the cream of the crop, but he's going to be one of that next level of guys. He's going to mess around and get a 4-year extension, 5-year extension for $90 million. Like he's going to get that because he's playing that well, and that's how well he's going to look playing next to the $47 million per year guy in Micah Parsons. Then you still got guys like Gray, who's going to be able to just eat in one-on-one battles by himself. And what happens with Jaden Daniels? He got rushed. And also with a guy like Micah Parsons, he brings legitimate 4.4 speed from the defensive line position. That is huge. Jaden Daniels can outrun almost everybody else in the league on the defensive line, but that guy. That guy slows that down. And that guy is the guy that slows down guys like Jalen Hurts, guys like Josh Allen, guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Lamar Jackson, because he is quick enough and fast enough and agile enough to actually be there with you. So in this game, let's not really focus on Jaden in this game. This is a game where his team just isn't, he just was outmanned. He was outmatched. And it's that plain and simple. I'm not saying trying to say he played well. I'm not giving him no excuses on that. I'm just making the point of he had no shot in this game because Green Bay is the best team in the league as of today. And speaking of Green Bay, let's look at their side. Man, we saw Jordan Love go 19 of 31 for 292 passing yards and 2 tutties. Then we also saw Tucker Kraft looking like a beast in this game with 6 receptions for $124 and a touchdown. And then Josh Jacobs doing what Josh Jacobs does. 23 carries, 84 yards and a touchdown. This Packers offense can be explosive and can be elite. There was a play that Matthew Golden should have caught, that when he was running down the middle of the seam, Jordan Love just missed him. Just missed him. But Jordan Love would have hit that. That would have been an 80-yard, 90-yard touchdown to the crib. Easy. Point blank, period. Now in this game, we did see Jaden Reed get hurt. That is a factor for them. But it's not as big as you think. It's not big as you think because a few years ago when the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl with guys like MVS, guys like Kadarius Toney, guys like Sky Moore, guys like Mecole Hardman, so on and so. Sammy Watkins was still on that team, I believe. Those kind of guys on the roster, there's no true number one threat. And with that being the case, Patrick Mahomes will spread the wealth to everybody. So one guy being down is not necessarily the guy. It's can you put somebody in that spot that plays that same way? In which they can. They can put Matthew Golden in Jaden Reed's spot, and he plays that same way. They put the boy number 83, I forget the young man's first name, but his last name was Williams. Put him in that spot, and he played great in that game. You still got Dontavion Wicks. You still got Romeo Doubs. They just got a group of wide receivers where if they lose one, they're still going to keep track. I don't see this offense slowing down at all, even with Jaden Reed being out the lineup for probably the next 6 to 8 weeks. With that being said, Jordan Love is going to be a legitimate MVP candidate. I love the way he played in this game. I really did. And also, I love their aggressiveness that the Packers had. But also, what brings that aggressiveness is when you got a guy like Micah Parsons on the other side. When you got Micah Parsons on that defense, you could count on your defense to get sacks, to cause negative plays for the opposing team, to get you the ball back. So now you can be aggressive. I'm telling you guys, that trade was a dramatic trade in the NFL. And with that being the case, the Green Bay Packers are the best team in the NFL as of right now today. Now, let's go ahead and get into Sunday. First, we're going to go off with the quick games. The games that we're not going to dive a whole lot into, we just give a quick little nuggets on. We got the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. I got the Miami Dolphins actually maybe pulling this game out. This game isn't that big a deal. I think both teams are not as good as I thought that they should be. Well, more so New England. I thought that Miami wouldn't be good, and they were even worse in the opener than what I thought they'll be. I think they'll be better in this game. They're going to be at home. Get that home cooking. They always play well at home in the beginning of the year because of the way that they got that stadium rigged with the shades over Miami's side. New England's going to be in the beat sun, and they're going to be already tired before you can go out there. These boys are used to running in that 90-degree weather that they got going on. New England ain't used to that. So with that being the case, man, I got Miami winning this game. I can see Tyreek Hill having a decent day tomorrow. A decent day today. Moving on now to our next game, man. We got the San Francisco 49ers at the New Orleans Saints. 49ers just get the dub. I can see guys like Ricky Pearsall having a decent day because yes, I know Mac Jones is going to be the starter and that Brock Purdy's out. But Mac Jones can support a wide receiver. Not just support a wide receiver, but when I got a guy like Christian McCaffrey also in my backfield, and I got a guy like Kyle Shanahan calling plays, I could be productive. This is a guy that they actually should have drafted years ago with Trey Lance. They should have never went with Trey Lance. They should have went with Mac Jones. He fits that system perfectly. Perfectly. Everything Brock Purdy does, Mike Jones can do that. It's just that Mike Jones didn't get that type of opportunity because he ended up in New England and Bill Belichick thought that he didn't need an offensive coordinator and so on and so forth. But with that being the case, man, I think that San Francisco 49ers will be fine. I think their defense is going to just dominate the New Orleans Saints, and the San Francisco 49ers are going to win this game. Moving on to the next game, man, we got the LA Rams against the Tennessee Titans. At the Tennessee Titans. I got the Rams win this game. It's going to be pretty simple. The Rams are just going to play great defense. Their offense is going to continue just taking their time, developing that chemistry. You're going to see Puka Nacua, as always, with a lot of catches. He's going to probably have 8, 9, 10 catches in this game. Going for probably about 90 to 110 yards, somewhere in that ballpark. Devontae Adams, he's going to make some key plays. He's going to have probably like 5, 6 catches. But he's going to probably be close to 70 yards. He's going to make the first down plays, so on and so forth. Kyron Williams will probably get his touchdown that he typically gets. This is just going to be a basic game. Nothing exciting. The only thing we want to see in this game is Cam Ward continue to make steps into becoming a better quarterback. But I got the Rams winning this football game. Moving on now, we got the Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. We got the Cardinals winning this game. I just think they're a better football team. They're just a better football team. They got more weapons. They got a better offensive flow. And on top of that, I even think their defense is better. I think all around they're better. And I think Carolina's trying to figure out the wide receiver situation right now. Tat, he's okay. He's okay, but man, he's the best option, and he's a rookie. I could do things to him that he's never seen before, and I could slow up your passing game tremendously. And that's what we're going to see taking place. I'm going to put 8 in the box. I'm going to slow down Chuba Hubbard, who's proven to be a quality running back in the NFL. We're going to swallow him up so that he can't really do what he does. So with that being the case, I got the Arizona Cardinals win this game. I think guys like Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, like they have so many weapons offensively. I do not think that the Carolina Panthers can stop them. So with that being the case, I got the Cardinals winning this football game. Moving on now, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore's about to blow out the Browns. Just letting you guys know that now. They're going to come out ticked off about how that last game ended. This game is going to be over at halftime. I'm expecting Derrick Henry to do his thing, Lamar do his thing. I expect the defense. The Browns would be lucky to score 10 points in this game. I truly feel that way. I think Baltimore's going to come out with a bang because they're going to be ticked off about how they blew that game. Last game, they're coming with mad vengeance against the Cleveland Browns. Into the final game in this segment, man, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't think Jacksonville's that good. I think they had a good opponent last week to do that against in Carolina. This week you got Cincinnati. And I think Cincinnati's going to come out and try to really get that offense rocking and rolling. I think that this is a week when they're going to really put that to the test, and they're going to go ahead and get Jamar Chase the ball, get him open space, so on and so forth. They got their warm-up game out the way, and now they're about to come out full go, full speed, especially when they watch a team like Baltimore drop 40 on night one. They know that they got to get this offense going. So I expect Joe Burrow to have a big day. Jamar Chase to have a really good day. T. Higgins probably get a touchdown in this game. Chase Brown's going to do what he does at the backfield. I expect Cincinnati to win this game. I expect them to win it handily. Now, man, let's go ahead and get to our important games. This game is very important, you guys. We got the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. This is why it's important. The Giants, we know they're not going nowhere. But I was very impressed in what I saw from the Dallas Cowboys against the Eagles last week. I really was. They actually did stop the run. They did a good job of stopping the run. And that back end held up against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They gave up a couple big plays. I take those. When you hold A.J. Brown to one catch, and you hold Devontae Smith to a modest game, I take that. I will take it every day of the week. In that offense, I just feel like that they left a lot of meat on the bone. You got a guy like CeeDee Lamb, Team 88 himself, dropping balls like that. He's not going to drop those balls that often. He's going to make those plays. There's going to be more plays there for a guy like George Pickens to take advantage of. Why? Because Quinyon Mitchell is not guarding him this week. This offense has the ability to mess around and be on the Bengals, or close to the Bengals level last year. Not quite the Bengals level, but close to it. They have that ability, and I love what I saw out of their defense last week. I think that this is a week that the Dallas defense could actually play very well against the New York Giants. And as long as they can hold up the pass rush from the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys can go ahead and score 30 points on the Giants. The only thing that messes, this is why this has become an important game. If the Dallas Cowboys cannot do that against the Giants, the Cowboys are toast. Chalk it up. You guys are going to win 6 to 7 games. That's it. You got to beat bad teams the way that you're supposed to beat bad teams. Moving on now to our next sneaky important game. The Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Buffalo Bills are coming off of what, honestly, I'm going to keep it a buck, a great fourth quarter, but a bad offensive performance against for the first three against, sorry about that, the Baltimore Ravens. The Jets still have a decent defense. They're decent. Now, they got a new scheme going on, so on and so forth, but they're going to be far more aggressive. You got guys like Sauce Gardner now. He's now traveling. Now, he's probably going to travel with Keon Coleman. So it takes away your down the field guy in theory. So with that being the case, this game is going to come back on Josh Allen again. And asking him to do what he did against the Ravens week to week to week is a lot to ask for. Now, here's the sneaky part. Here's the sneaky part that people need to make sure that you guys understand. The qualities that the Ravens present on offense is very similar to the qualities that the Jets can present on offense. You got Lamar Jackson, who could pass and who could run. You got Justin Fields, who could run, and he's getting better. He looked good passing last week. You got Derrick Henry, who could take it 70 to the crib. You got Breece Hall, who could take it 40 to the crib. These teams are very similar. Very similar. And the Bills struggle with quarterbacks that are mobile. That defense struggles with that. So with that being the case, this is a great opportunity for the Jets to go ahead and pounce on the Bills. The Bills are coming off a high game. They might come in a little low, and this is your chance to punch them in the mouth. You got confidence from your game. Talking about the Jets playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. You feel like you should have won that game. So now you get to come in here with that bravado that like, oh no, bro, we really solid around here. We almost beat Mike Tomlin and them boys. We can handle y'all. We see y'all every year anyway. And AG, Aaron Glenn, the head coach, he's bringing that attitude and that moxie to that team. So I really like their chances of winning this game. I'm still going with Buffalo to probably cover this. To win the game. But I think the Jets is going to be knocking on the door. Moving on now to the next important game, and we got the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts. This is why this game is important. What's real and what's not. That Bo Nix offense that we saw last week against Tennessee, that was garbage. That was garbage. In Denver, you're supposed to be a top flight team this year. What are you going to do against the Indianapolis Colts, who just shut down the Miami Dolphins on 8 points? They really shut them out. They really shut them out. I don't care they scored that touchdown at the end. I ain't counting that. They shut them boys out. And Daniel Jones looked good. There was a few bad throws. I ain't going to sit here and act like he didn't have no bad throws now. He had some bad throws, but he played very well in that game. If he can duplicate what he did in that game, they could beat the Denver Broncos. Because the Denver Broncos offense, Bo Nix, I don't know what the hell he was doing last week. If he do that again, they will not win. So this is a big telling sign for the Denver Broncos, especially for the Broncos as well, because you are now 1-0. Actually, every team won in the Chiefs division but the Chiefs. So now you could try to take a step up because the Chiefs played Philly. They could lose that game. So now you can mess around with a 2-game lead on the Chiefs. You need to get that. They ain't no playing around. So, Bo Nix, you got to step up. This game is very important. Moving on to our next game, and we got the Seattle Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is why this game is important. It's not as important to me as the Denver Broncos and Indianapolis game. But what's important is to show me is that offense real that we saw last week against the Jets. Talk about Pittsburgh. Is that real? Can y'all move the ball that efficiently? And on top of that, you're going against a good defense again. So show me what you got. And for Pittsburgh's defense, I need y'all to step up. You're supposed to be a defense that's only letting up maybe 17 points a game, 16 to 17 points a game, if you're not playing against those elite quarterbacks. You did not play them last week. You played Justin Fields, so you gave up 32. You better not give up 32 to Sam Darnold. That's a problem. You give up 30 to him, that means you're telling me Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and them boys, you have no shot. So this game is huge for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need to go ahead and get this 2-0 lead, because you also got to keep up with Baltimore as the weeks go on. So get your job done, handle your business. Moving on to our next important game, we got the Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. This is why this game is important. Whoever wins has a chance to be in that ballpark as second in the division. I think the Detroit Lions are going to win. But as far as this game being important, it is. How are we going to see Caleb Williams take the next step? The first half, really the first quarter, Caleb Williams was great. But them last 3 quarters, he did a lot of old Caleb Williams stuff, especially in the fourth. So I'm very excited to see what this game actually ends up showing us, because I need to see what happens there. On the flip side, I need to see what goes on with that Detroit offensive line, because that's been the secret sauce to them. Their offensive line has been elite, just like the Eagles. Without that offensive line, Jared Goff is toast. Without the offensive line, Jahmyr Gibbs, cut it. Montgomery, cut it. Well, if Jared Goff is cut, guess what? St. Brown, cut it. So with that being the case, man, we got to see this offensive line take a step. They looked really, really bad last week against Green Bay. They got to take a step forward. This is a quality opponent, quality defense that you can take that step against to build some confidence. You got to make sure you get that done, Detroit. And our final important game is going to be the Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings. This game is important because Atlanta let one go last week. They let one go. And Minnesota Can you build on to what J.J. McCarthy did last week in the fourth quarter? Can you build upon that against a team that showed a credible pass rush? Talking about the Falcons last week against Baker Mayfield. This is going to be a good test for them, a very good test for them. Also for Michael Penix, you're going against a Brian Flores defense that's very multiple. He's going to show you new things that you ain't never seen before. How can you dissect those things? Can you show me that you could go from being a young quarterback to, hey, bro, I could be up there with Jordan Love and all those guys too. I could be up there with Dak, Jordan Love, and all those type of quarterbacks. I ain't going as far as the Lamars and Patricks and Joshes and Burrows and all those guys. Now I'm talking about that next group of guys. You got to show me the ability that you can get there. I believe in you. I believe that you can, but you got to prove it. And this is a great game for you to do that. And on top of that, Atlanta, if you lose this game, you go down 0-2. You do not want to go down 0-2 because Tampa Bay is good enough to go ahead and take away this division. Now, man, let's go ahead and get to our game of the week. Man, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs. Super Bowl rematch. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, guys, keep it a buck, to keep it a bean with you guys, this game is not crazy important. It's an interconference game. Out of conference game. So because it's an out of conference game, the purpose of it in terms of playoffs is very minimal. The Chiefs would not hold the Eagles back from making the playoffs, and the Eagles are not holding back the Chiefs. It's just that plain and simple. But this game is very important for Kansas City. How did you fix this offensive line? Jalen Carter's playing. So what do we look like? DBs, can we hold up this week? Because last week we was garbage. Last week against the Chargers, we were trash. Chris Jones, can we stay within our rush lanes? Because last week you gave up the run that won the game for the Chargers. Can you keep Jalen Hurts contained? Now, last year in the Super Bowl, we saw that the Chiefs were able to slow down Saquon Barkley. You have to do that again. Also, I didn't really have an issue with the DBs in the Super Bowl either last year. I mean, hey, A.J. Brown's a great player. He made great plays. You can't stop that sometimes, but you got to stay strong. The biggest issue was that Jalen Hurts was able to extend plays with his legs, and we lost our pass rush integrity. That's the biggest thing. So this is a huge game for Kansas City. Also on the flip end, for Kansas City, you're down with Xavier Worthy now. So what does our offense look like? Is it going to be a lot of quick stuff? Or can Hollywood Brown become that wide receiver that we all thought that he could when he came out of college? Now, granted, that was 6-7 years ago. But the thing is, he still is in his prime. He's in his prime to do that. So can he get there? Is he going to get there? I don't know. We're going to find out. But I think this game is going to be a good test for that. I also think it is going to be a good test for the Eagles, because that Eagles secondary looked very suspect last week. Quinyon Mitchell was the only good sign. Everything else about that defense was not good. Was not good at all. Nolan Smith showed that he has not actually progressed as a pass rusher. Braun, he wasn't the same guy without Jalen Carter and all those guys up front. I mean, like, it showcased a lot of weaknesses and a lot of holes against the Dallas Cowboys. So with that being said, this is the game of the week. This game is very important for both teams to find out where they are. Can the Eagles solidify that, hey, bro, we are the second best team in the NFC? And the Chiefs, can we solidify, like, hey, we ain't going nowhere. We're still Kansas City. And it's that plain and simple. Now let's go on to our Monday Night Football games real quick. Man, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Houston Texans. Man, this game is going to be, I ain't going to lie, I'm not very excited for this game because that Houston offense just does not get me going no more. It just doesn't. It's honestly gotten worse every week since the start of last season. And last week against the Rams, it was garbage. It was garbage. It was a hard watch. I didn't watch all of it because I was like, I'm wasting my time. That offensive line is awful. So all that Todd Bowles got to do is do what he does. Blitz C.J. Stroud, you win the game. Baker, don't turn the ball over. It's that plain and simple. Moving on to the next game, we got the L.A. Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. I think this game is actually going to be a tough win for the Chargers, but the Chargers are going to get the dub at the end of the day. The Chargers' defense is solid, but more importantly, that offensive line is stout. Even without Rashawn Slater, they are still stout. So with that being the case, man, I think they're going to hold up very well against Max Crosby in that pass rush. I do not think the Las Vegas Raiders' offense is going to be complimentary enough. So with that being the case, I got the Chargers winning this football game. I just think they're the better football team. So now, hey, you guys, let's go ahead and get to our fantasy sleepers for this week. At QB, Talking about the Chargers, I'm going Geno Smith at home against the Chargers. First of all, Geno Smith at home is a very different quarterback than Geno Smith on the road. Geno Smith at home, he throws for like 50 to 60 more yards at home versus on the road. Let alone that now his home is a dome. He's in a dome now. And on top of that, I just saw what he did last week in New England. He had a good week last week. Now, go to what Patrick Mahomes did against the Chargers. Patrick Mahomes had a great game individually against the Los Angeles Chargers last week. So with that being the case, I envision the Raiders losing from the beginning in this game, the running game getting stopped, and with that being the case, Geno Smith has to pass. That's what you want to look for in fantasy football. You want opportunities. How many opportunities does this guy get to make plays? Geno Smith will not have a choice but to throw the ball 35 to 40 times in this game. Unless the Chargers just completely kill the clock, that's the only way he's not going to get those opportunities. So Geno Smith is my sleeper starter for the week. Like, if you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes and you're kind of nervous about what this wide receiver core is going to look like against Philly, he's a guy that I'm comfortable subbing in for this week. Moving on now to running back, I actually got Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet, I think, is a better runner, actually, than Kenny Walker. It hurts me to say because I was a Kenny Walker guy. But Zach Charbonnet has shown me enough. He showed me plenty enough. And with that being the case, I think that he is the better runner. Now, when you also look at Pittsburgh last week, Pittsburgh was giving up runs left and right to Breece Hall. Their run stop, they were not stout at stopping the run at all. So with that being the case, I am comfortable sliding in a guy like Zach Charbonnet if you are in a pinch. If you're in a pinch at your flex spot because you are kind of nervous that Brock Purdy got hurt, so you don't know if you want to put in Jawan Jennings and so on and so forth, or Jawan Jennings got hurt. Now with your flex, I'm comfortable with Zach Charbonnet going into that spot. Moving on now to wide receiver. I like Stephon Diggs this week. Stephon Diggs was the third wide receiver last week, and when he was in, he got like 5 targets, and he only ran like 8 to 9 routes or something like that. He didn't run a whole lot of routes, and he got hella targets. So I think this week, because he came out healthy last week, I think this week that he's going to play more. And when he plays more, he's going to get more targets, obviously more opportunities, and he's going to get a defense that has no DBs in the Miami Dolphins. So I actually love Stephon Diggs this week in fantasy football. Moving on to tight end, I like Noah Fant. This is why I like Noah Fant. He played more than Mike Gesicki, I noticed. That's at least that's what I noticed. I don't know the exact step count, but that's what I felt. And he's a better prospect, meaning that he's a better player than Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki is a great receiving tight end, but Noah Fant could do everything he could do, and he could run block. So with that being the case, he could be in more often because he is not. You are not telling the defense what you're trying to do if he's in the game. Versus if it's Mike Gesicki's in the game. If I'm a linebacker and he's in the game, I know he's running a route. And if he's trying to run block, I ain't worried. But if Noah Fant's in, I don't know if he's about to run block or run a route. So I like what he does and what he brings and how he complements that offense in Cincinnati. And on top of that, all the tight ends are trash. So when I'm trying to give y'all guys a sleeper, I got to dig deep for tight end. And my tight end is Noah Fant. Defense, I like Indianapolis this week. I'm not the biggest Bo Nix guy. I wasn't the biggest Bo Nix guy last year. He showed me some good things last year. I back off of him a little bit. I'm not going to say he's trash. I'm not going to dare say that, but I think he's an average quarterback. And we just saw what the Indianapolis Colts did to our average quarterback last week. So with that being the case, I like Indianapolis at home because, like I said, they're at home. And on top of that, they're coming off a big week. And as long as they can run the ball and control the clock, the defense is going to be in a great spot. As far as kicker goes, man, I'm going with the new guy, Eddie Pineiro. Something like, I don't know how to pronounce that gentleman's last name, but he's the new kicker for the 49ers. I'm going with him because they're going to beat the New Orleans Saints. They're going to be in scoring position a lot, and they want to get field goals up. So those are my fantasy sleepers for the week. Hopefully those guys can help you out if you're in a pinch or if you're in a deep league. Those guys can come in, give you valuable points, and hopefully get you to win. Now let's get to our bets of the week. First ones we're going to go over is our game bets. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals at the -3.5, meaning that I think they're going to win by 4 or more points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I actually think I think the Bengals will mess around and win by 10 or so points. I don't think this game is going to be close. I think this game is going to easily be handled by the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is good enough to slow down the Bengals. And I think the Bengals offense is just far too high powered. And I think Trevor Lawrence is not a good quarterback. I just think he's not good. I think he's a bottom I'll say he's probably like in the 20s for me if I'm ranking quarterbacks off the top of my head. So with that being the case, I do not think he can keep up with Joe Burrow, and I think it's very simple. They don't have the wide receivers, they don't have the explosiveness, none of that kind of stuff to keep up with them. And for whatever reason, Trevor Lawrence does not use Brian Thomas Jr. That was Mac Jones last year, you guys. That was not Trevor Lawrence. Moving on now to the next game, man. I got the Dallas Cowboys covering their 4.5-point spread, meaning that they're going to win by 5 or more points against the New York Giants. What I saw from Russell Wilson last week was worse than what I saw from the Houston Texans offense. That offense was booty cheeks. So with that being the case, man, easily I'm going Dallas, because I just do not think the Giants could keep up scoring with Dallas. Even if Dallas only scores 16 points, I think the Giants will be lucky to score 6. I think the Giants' offense is that putrid. Moving on now to our next game, man. I got the New York Jets covering their point spread of plus 6.5 against the Buffalo Bills. I'm picking the Buffalo Bills to win the game, but I'm picking the Jets to cover, meaning that I'm picking the Bills to only beat them by like 3 to 4 points. I do not think that they're going to beat them by over a touchdown. The Jets offense showed a lot last week. They're going to kill the clock. They're going to run the ball. And the weaknesses of the Bills defense, as I already stated, is a lot similar to what the Baltimore Ravens could show you. So with that being the case, I like the Jets covering this point spread this week. In the final game I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals on the money line against the Carolina Panthers. I just think the Cardinals are going to win. I think they're a better team. I cannot take the points on the Cardinals because that offense just, as I said in the previous episode, I want more from it. That's an offense that should be able to score 28 points in a week. And for whatever reason, they score 17, 20, 21, 23. They don't get there for whatever reason, but they have enough talent. I think that they're going to win this football game. It's going to be a little nip and tuck because that's what the Cardinals do, but I think the Cardinals are going to pull out the win. Now let's go on to our player props, man. I got Derrick Henry getting an anytime touchdown. Why? Because he's Derrick Henry. It's just that plain and simple. He's going against the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are talking trash, talking about he's easy to tackle, so on and so forth. He going for $120 and 2 touchdowns tonight. It's just that plain and simple. Now, in that same game, man, we're going to go with Lamar Jackson getting over 1.5 passing touchdowns. The fact that they only got him maybe at 1.5 passing touchdowns, I think is crazy. Granted, they probably think that there's a good chance that he will run one in, but I'm just like, come on, bro. It's the Cleveland Browns. They're going to run that score up on them. So I got Lamar Jackson going over 1.5 touchdowns. I'll also have Dak Prescott going over 1.5 touchdowns. That last week thing with Javonte Williams scoring 2 touchdowns, scoring the only touchdowns for the Cowboys last week, fool's gold. Fool's gold to me. And this week I think it's going to be big on getting Dak Prescott in that passing game going. And only at 1.5 passing touchdowns, I'm taking it. It's that plain and simple. I'm taking it. So with that being the case, man, I'm going Dak Prescott with over 1.5 passing touchdowns against the New York Giants. And finally, man, we're going with the old faithful, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey getting an anytime touchdown against the New Orleans Saints. It's Christian McCaffrey. He scores touchdowns. Him, Derrick Henry, they're going to be pushing 18 touchdowns a season every single year. That's what they do. So with that being the case, I got Christian McCaffrey getting this. He's going to have a good workload with Brock Purdy being out. They're going to lean on him, and they want him to score every game. That's their goal, is for Christian McCaffrey to score every game. So with that being the case, man, I got Christian McCaffrey getting an anytime touchdown. Hopefully you guys make some money this week. Hopefully you win your fantasy matches. And hopefully, man, we have a good Sunday and good Monday Night Football. Hey, man, thank you guys for watching Knowing True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Hey, y'all, please like, share, subscribe, and follow. Man, I'm going to keep this up. I hope that you guys are still enjoying the graphics. I'm trying to get better, you guys. I'm trying to get better. So, hey, be with your boy. Hey, check me out on, let's go ahead and say Thursday, this upcoming Thursday morning for our review over week 2. This is Knowing True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Thanks for checking me out. Peace.